Hi, everyone, and welcome to our Tech Talk. I'm Anna, Operations and Customer Success Manager at Aero NextGen. And for those who might not know us, Aero NextGen helps aviations and MRO organizations discover and compare the right technology solutions for their operations. And today's sessions will take a closer look at the shift from legacy ERP systems to modern web-based platforms. Joining us today is Guy Danon from Pentagon 2000 Software. Hi, Guy. Thank you for being here.
Hello, thank you very much for having me.
So let's start it.
Yeah.
So many aviation companies are still operating on legacy ERP systems that were implemented years ago. From what you're seeing in the industry today, what are the most common challenges organizations face when relying on those older systems?
Look, it's like driving a 20-year-old car. 20 years old car would still bring you from point A to point B. So why drive a new car? The question is, what are the constraints? The questions are whether the system helps you to be quicker or drive quicker, to be more competitive, if you offer a great service to your customers. The question to be asked is, could you offer a great experience to your employees as well to ensure their productivity? It's not only about customers, it's your people who work day and night to help your business. Using old IT systems, a 20-year-old car, would not provide you the agility you need for today's competition and today's business or rapid of market evolution. Last but not least, a business is managed through the financial statement. These are spectacles that CFOs, that the C-level are using in order to run the business. By using the 20-year-old system or a 20-year-old car or all systems, it's quite often that those spectacles are not working, that the businesses are not managed in real time, the data is not real time, not the entire business is not connected on one platform, that you force your labor, your people, your teams to work manually or even outside the system, so then you do not capture the data within the system. So how could you manage a business? It's using an old system is like giving one the ability to drive forward in his car, if we're still sticking to this analogy,
Hmm.
while using the back rear mirror instead of looking forward.
Yeah.
And in some cases, this back rear mirror is even partially broken.
We often hear that companies delay modernizations for years. What are the biggest fears or misconceptions that hold organizations back from moving to web-based systems?
Well, I would say the common word is fear. Fear from change management. People who used to do things for a certain way in a certain method for this and that number of years, changing habits is perhaps one of the most difficult things for human beings to do. Fear of saying goodbye to your homegrown systems, those systems you built on your own with your team 20 years ago and you know them inside out, but they're not no longer really serving the business. But you built your own thing. It's your baby. It's difficult to say goodbye. Another fear is fear of data security, especially in web environments, cloud environments. Although I believe that cloud environments are very safe nowadays, many of them are government graded in terms of security and so on. But for those who still have the fear, please know that web-based solutions do not necessarily mean that you cannot host the system at your own servers. You could have a web-based system, but it could be hosted locally, as we say, on-premise. Fear is also a fear from complex ERP projects, because ERP projects are known to be very, very complex, very long, very expensive. My message is the following: it shouldn't be the case. And on a very personal level, when I left SAP, I thought this was always the case, but when I moved to Pentagon, I discovered this is not only the case. We were taught by the industry that ERP is super expensive, super complex, but My reality in the past couple of years is no, 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 no. It's much less than it is. It needs to be a well thought project and so on. But a project could last a few weeks or a few months, and you're done with it if it's done properly with the right system. Fear from ERP related costs. So companies, frankly, do not need to pay millions to buy and then maintain their ERPs. The alternative cost of not doing anything is much higher. The alternative cost of losing for a competition, of not serving well their customer, of not maintaining the airplane, of not doing the job properly is much more expensive than the cost of an ERP project could be. And the last fear that I could list here is the fear from getting fired if you do not choose SAP or IFS. But on the other hand, these projects are super expensive. So what do? You remain paralyzed. So people see the issues. Now go back to our initial conversation. People see the issues, but they do not move forward because they say, okay, but if we choose something like SAP or IFS, it's too expensive. So let's do the old method. No, there are other options over there which are much more compelling from a value cost perspective, ratio perspective.
That's understandable. All those fears are understandable, but I don't think they should stop a company to move forward, right? And I believe that for many organizations, the challenge isn't only deciding that they need to modernize, it's figuring out how to do it as well, right? Without disrupting the business. And for companies that recognize that they need to modernize, what does a successful transition to a web-based ERP typically involve? What are the key steps that makes the difference between a smooth transition and a difficult one?
Okay, look, as I mentioned at the beginning in my introduction, I've been in the ERP business for over 25 years. And if I could speak about what I think are key success factors for successful projects, and then it encompasses, of course, both web-based and non-web-based. It's not necessarily about web-based ERPs. So first of all is leadership and management commitment. Without the leadership, now leadership and management commitment is not only, okay, this is a budget, okay, go. It's about the ability to make the difficult decisions. And to communicate those. It's about the ability to convey to the organization, guys, change is happening. More elements which are quite important. First of all, going into a project, I see often that the companies do not appoint a local ERP champion. What I recommend is having a person always who is the champion of the ERP, who would be the go-to person within the organization, and he would be the key point of contact with the vendor for the project. Dedicated ERP transition team needs to be appointed. But this is a very important point now. The ownership of the project is not IT. If you as a company treat the project as an IT project, you will fail. You need to treat the project as a business project, meaning the key stakeholders are the business users, not the IT. This is a business transformation project, not IT transformation project. IT is an enabler with all due respect to the IT industry. I see often that companies do not identify, articulate, and outline the requirement analysis and requirement list of their processes and their needs and so on. So what happens if it's not being done? And you do not do it before you select your ERP. So first of all, you might select the wrong ERP for you. And that, second, the project starts to be the project is becoming kind of a moving target all the time. If you do not define at the beginning what are the requirements, where do you want to reach, it creates a source of confusion for your organization, for the ERP vendor, and for the engagement with all the different stakeholders, internal and external. My strong recommendation is to define and articulate those before you start at the beginning of the project, phase one. And most important, a healthy, transparent, ongoing communication with all parties involved, internally and externally. Before you starting a project, my small tip, 25 years in the industry, ensure that your vendors show you the capabilities which are important for you. They do not ask you to imagine. They do not show you only demos or illustrations or figurative stuff. They need to show you it works before starting the project, because then you will start the project and you'll discover the gaps, and the cost would be exponential because you would need to invest in custom development and in adjustments and.
And looking ahead, how do you see modern ERP platforms like Pentagon shaping the future of aviation's operations over the next 5 to 10 years?
At the end of the day, a repair is a repair, a maintenance job is a maintenance job, and sending an invoice is sending an invoice. So the processes would not dramatically change in the next 5 to 10 years, but it could be modernized. What do I mean by that? So look, Pentagon is well known in the industry for being a very secure, robust, and solid system. People know that. We as Pentagon, we never claimed to be the front runners in innovation. We are conservative a little bit from that perspective because we're super, super prudent in the quality assurance and in checking and testing and double checking and double testing the new releases and the new versions and the innovation and so on. Having said that, still 60 to 70% of our budget goes for R&D. We are investing in a lot of innovation. And for the companies, it's a transitional period actually nowadays, moving from our legacy and closed, I would say, Windows environment to a modern web version user experience. We're releasing nowadays the web version. We're offering a cloud-based option. It's an option for those who want to go cloud-based option and platform. We're moving into a more open architecture that will easily interface with other systems and give more autonomy to our customers. You asked about 5, 10 years from now. 10 years, 5, 10 years is quite distant with the rapidly changing world. But I guess we would see from Pentagon at least we see much more AI, automation, interfaces with new elements such as robotics. So I personally think we'll see many more robotics coming up in this industry. Our first release, our first interface to the first robot would happen later this year. Um, but yes, it would be pretty much about automation, digital, paperless, IT assisting human. Personally, with all the AI hype happening nowadays, it is transformational, no doubt, but it will become one more component that would help with turning the world into a more automated world, more secure world also. A few years ago we had the blockchain hype. I think that personally, blockchain would be also part of the future elements in a future ERP because of the security elements. I mentioned another robotics. So I think Pentagon as an industry is going into a more, like in the banking world, open banking. So open aviation platforms that would better communicate and better interface with human as well as with other machines,
Yeah.
as well as with other software.
I thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your perspective on the ERP modernization and aviation. I hope it helps. I'm sure it will help a lot of people who are like deciding into changing or not. Change is necessary sometimes. And thank you
Yeah.
everyone for watching. If you're currently evaluating aviation's ERP soft solutions or looking for technology to support your digital transformation journey, be sure to visit Aero NextGen website. We help aviation's organizations discover and compare solutions across the industry, make it easier to find the right fit for your operation. Thank you so much, Kai, for joining me again. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.